There was a single unexpected moment in John Mark's mid-20s that left him with a vast and dark sense of emptiness. He would spend the next 15 years, hang on one sec. Okay. He would spend the next 15 years immersed in feverish worldly activity, trying in vain to fill this emptiness. His normal life of businessman, husband, and father had all the hallmarks of great success. But finally, in 2007, he was compelled by some greater force to sell his business and begin the inward search for the peace and happiness that had always eluded him. Almost immediately, he was swept up in a tidal wave of grace. For a man used to control and responsibility, it was particularly unsettling that these miracles began to move and direct his life into uncharted waters. In 2009, he was guided to A Course in Miracles, A Course of Love, and the Way of Mastery. Instinctively, he knew this was what he'd been searching for. It was as though these texts had been written just for him. They led him to the direct experience of God's limitless love and peace. The experience of realizing this ever-present perfect awareness of God finally brought the causeless joy and eternal happiness which John Mark sought. With great joy, he now shares the limitless love with all as one. Okay, and so we're very fortunate to have this opportunity to listen to John Mark. And I always ask our guest speakers if they would like a more interactive approach, or if they'd like to have people hold their questions to the end. He likes the interactive approach, so feel free to ask a question at any point. Allow him to come to the end of a sentence before you ask the question. But when you're not asking a question, I'll ask you to mute. Just put yourselves on mute so that there's no extraneous noise. And then if you want to ask a question, remember to unmute so that we can hear you. Okay? So, all right. So please welcome, and very happy to see you, John Mark Stroud.
Thank you, Gloria, and thank you for the introduction. And thank you for the work that you do through your organization, offering high consciousness in many, many formats. And thank each of you for your individual and respective journeys through the vast potentials of consciousness. I celebrate that we've come together tonight. I don't have really anything to tell you. I know if you're an authentic seeker, your mind is probably already overflowing with spiritual stuff. Oftentimes our minds struggle to correlate one teaching to another, or one pathway. How does it relate to something else? What I'd like to share with you tonight is a way to move into direct experience. I call it crossing the threshold. If information would enlighten us, we would all be enlightened, because we've got more information than we can manage. So I'd like to share with you the way that my inner guidance brought me to what I call the threshold that is the demarcation point between our infinite eternal nature and our temporal finite nature. And all I ask is that you're willing to take the journey with me. You already know everything you need to know. You already have all the faculties that you need. And there's nothing that you need do except offer your willingness and take the journey with me, and allow your direct experience intimately, uniquely within you, to inform you in the perfect way that what might be called the Holy Spirit, or the Spirit of God, would inform you, knowing you perfectly and completely. So are you willing to take a journey with me? and let's just see what happens. Nothing bad can happen, I promise. All right, so each of you are absolutely sovereign in that you contain within your being the light of awareness. Kathy has her own light of awareness that within which she experiences her life, just as Marcia, Nancy, all of us, we all have a light of awareness. And this light is the byproduct of the Creator saying, let there be light. Boom. And the ability to be aware, the ability to be conscious came into existence. When we're in our human forms, we limit this light of awareness to reflect to us only temporary things. Our temporary bodies, a world outside of us that's temporary. That light of awareness, which knows no limits, gets filtered down and restricted through the tiny orifice of 5 physical senses. And you all are intimately familiar with those senses. Now, this light of awareness has been perfectly operable in every one of us since our eternal creation and since our physical birth into the earth. And it is perfect all the time. It doesn't require any awareness. We don't have to do anything to receive it. It's the eternal bestowal of the Creator's light, the Creator's existence, uniquely and individually within us. So what we're going to do together is we're going to explore discovering this light in maybe new ways than we have before. And we're going to use that light to not just report the temporary things to us, but to report the eternal things to us. Right here, right now, while we're incarnate. We can cross the threshold. We don't have to wait for death. We don't have to wait for some mysterious, mystical experience to come out of nowhere. We can consciously, willfully enter into a communion, experience our eternal nature whenever we choose, if we know the way. And I'm going to share with you the way that was shared with me. It may work for you. If it does, great. Feel free to use it. If not, throw it out. And of course, demand that the universe brings you something that's more akin for you. Okay, so I'm going to ask everyone to close your eyes. And this is a journey of no effort at all. There's nothing to get right. You can't get anything wrong. No one is going to evaluate your experience. No one's experiences is better or worse than anyone else. They're just yours. So without any effort, allow yourself to become aware of your physical feet. And just notice that without any effort, all of a sudden, your feet fill your awareness. And without any seeing, you have direct, what I call gnosis, intimate gnosis, exactly the condition of your feet, whether they're folded in your lap, whether they're on the floor, whether you have shoes and socks on or you don't. There's just a direct and immediate knowing. And without any effort, we directed the light of awareness that is unique to each of you to a specific point. An immediate gnosis occurred, immediate knowing, direct and immediate. So now bring your awareness to your physical hands and allow yourself to marvel that you don't have to think about it. It just happens. And if you simply allow the light of your awareness to reveal the condition of your hands, much can be revealed. You know exactly how they're positioned. You know whether they're open or closed or holding an item or not. direct and immediate gnosis. Now bring your awareness to the back of your neck. And again, notice as soon as I said it, you were aware of the back of your neck. There is infinite intelligence in this light. When the Creator said, "Let there be light," the Creator extended the fullness of its intelligence into that light. Now we've been focusing this light like a flashlight. We've shined it directly on your feet. We've shined it directly on your hands. We've shined it directly on the back of your neck. And in order for you to have this light and have this experience, you don't need any spiritual knowledge. You don't need anything other than the power of this light itself. Now allow that light to become focused on what you would call your thinking mind. And simply notice without any effort if there are thoughts passing through your mind or not. You just know. There's no doubt. There's no confusion. You just know exactly what the thoughts are or are not. All right, so just let your eyes gently open and kind of come back to what you might consider your normal physical awareness. So all we've done is become really, really aware and very focused on the light that we each contain and giving it our attention and using it in ways that we probably normally don't. It's already there. It's already powerful. It has nothing to learn. It simply moves at your direction and immediately informs you of the wherever you have focused that light. And we've done it in the most familiar of ways in these bodies. How many of you have struggled to keep your mind present? Anyone? Struggled to keep your mind right here because it's thinking about everything that happened in the past and it's anticipating and hoping and wishing for the future, or it's having conversations with other people who aren't even present. Sometimes, even in my old case, arguments with people who aren't even there. Our mind does this. But what about our bodies? Have you ever lost your body in the past? Have you ever lost your body in the future? Without any effort, our bodies are already perfect masters of presence. Now, the body is not real in terms, it's not eternal, it's a temporary thing that we're having, but we can use the fact that it is perfectly and always present as a doorway to the eternal. We don't have to be rid of the body to know our eternal nature. The body can be an actual doorway into the infinite, into what is eternal. And if you come to abide there long enough that it becomes an open door, then the flow will begin to reverse and the infinite will begin to flow in and through our bodies and into form in ways that can be quite miraculous. So does everybody agree that you have this light? Does everybody recognize that it is yours and yours alone? You weren't recognizing anybody else's feet. You weren't hearing anybody else's thoughts. It is utterly and sovereignly your own. I think that's an incredible gift that the Creator gave us. And why we experience fear is simply because that light, we have chosen to focus it through temporary things, which of course then tell us we're these temporary bodies, and focus only on a temporary world, that everything has birth and death. So no wonder we're frightened. No wonder we feel separate. No wonder life can be so challenging. But what if we can reawaken this light to remember its eternal nature, to break the habit, the habituation of narrowing that focus just to the physical body and experiencing life through the 5 physical temporary senses? That would probably be some fun to discover, wouldn't it? And what if it's already within us? And what if every being on this planet already has it? We just need to reawaken it to its own eternal nature. And as Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, your being will immediately move that direction. So let's play with it some more, okay? So close your eyes when you're ready. Take a really deep in-breath and just notice you are absolutely clear that you're breathing in, and then relax and breathe out. No thought is required. To simply be aware that you're breathing. No right ways to do it, no wrong ways to do it, just aware of the experience of breathing. So without any effort, allow your light to focus on your rear end. And notice that immediately you know you're sitting. There's no question, there's no doubt. There's just immediate, direct, simple gnosis. And know that you're also immediately aware of what you're sitting on. You can feel the weight of the body. You know that what you're sitting on is either a hard chair or maybe a cushion. Simply by directing our light, we know beyond thought, beyond any concepts. We don't need a spiritual thought system. We simply know. Now bring your awareness to the top of your head. And maybe allow yourself to marvel that you don't have to think about it. You don't have to speak words in your mind to make it happen. It simply does. The intelligence of light itself, moving without the need for thought, knowing without the need for concepts, simply revealing directly, intimately to you, your own experience. And allow yourself to recognize that, oh my, this light has been here all along. Is it possible that it is so utterly present that maybe I've never really noticed it? All righty, so when you're ready, let your eyes gently open. Anyone have anything you'd like to share before we move on? Okay, so what we've done so far is we've used our light to focus on the temporary things, the very familiar, our bodies, because we're already masters of it. We don't walk around forgetting our bodies. And we've discovered that this light can be moved and directed. And not only can the light be moved, it informs us transcendent of thought, transcendent of beliefs. And the knowing that it offers us is simple and immediate. So what if we can use this power, this light that we all are, that we all have? What if we could use that to cross the threshold between the temporary and the eternal? What if we could use that light just as simply as revealing our feet to us to reveal our eternal nature to us? I think that's a worthy discovery. Is anyone willing to try that? I'm not asking you to believe anything. This is not at all about belief. If your beliefs bring you to the point where you're willing to be in discovery without fear, our beliefs have served their purpose. This light that we're operating with, it doesn't need any beliefs. It just is. It's there in every infant. That's why we love to look in an infant's eyes, because there's only this light without any beliefs, without any thoughts, without any experience. We're being seen clearly and directly by the light itself, because that infant doesn't hold any perceptions yet. It hasn't had any experience. It doesn't think, oh, you're attractive or you're not. We love to look in the eyes of the infant for that reason, because it's our opportunity to see God looking at us, really. Okay, so let's cross the threshold. But before we do that, I need to provide a little bit of context. So this is my drink bottle. I've got some nice iced tea in here. And just like we were using our light before, our senses, the light through our senses, are reporting to us that this bottle exists. We can see it. We can hear it. Doesn't really have much taste, at least the bottle doesn't, but the contents are yummy. I can shake it up, we can hear it. So immediately our light is telling us this exists, it's here. And it's using our five senses to affirm its existence. Because everything here is temporary. The bottle was something else before it became a bottle. The liquid was something else before it became a liquid. The tea was a plant or a tree that grew before the leaves were made into tea. This is all temporary. And our physical temporary senses tell us that it's here. But in order for this bottle to exist, there has to be a pre-existing space. You might think of it as potential. This space doesn't really have any qualities to it. It allows this bottle to exist exactly as it is. That space that this bottle occupies says an unconditional, unspoken yes to this bottle exactly as it is. It could be full of this yummy tea. It could be full of milk. It could be full of radioactive waste. It could be full of urine. It could be full of rocks. It could be full of any temporary thing. And the space that gives rise to it would say an unconditional, unqualified yes to it exactly as it is. So there's an eternal space that allows all temporary things to exist. Now, this space, when this bottle comes into existence, the space doesn't like get pushed out of the way. The space actually suffuses the bottle. Everybody know what suffuse means? It permeates. It's like, you might think of this as the quantum field, the wave of potential before the particle manifests into a thing. So this spaciousness, the emptiness that gives rise to all things, it's in the plastic, it's in the tea, it's in this little lanyard on the back, it's in the cap, it's in the whole thing. So the space goes nowhere when the temporary things occupy it. So everybody with me so far? So this bottle could have no existence if the pre-existing space of potential didn't exist. You could think of it as God consciousness if you want. You can think of it as pure mind before an idea of bottle or contents or tea comes into existence. So we've used our light so far tonight together to report the temporary to us. Let's be in discovery if we can use our light to report to us the space, the eternal space, the empty space, the potential that gives rise to this temporary thing. You guys willing to be in discovery about that? Okay. I call this spacious presence. There's a presence that is omnipresent, omnipresence of God. Let's see if we can touch it together. Okay. Remember, you can't screw it up. You don't need anybody's permission. We're going to use the sovereign light you already have. Just be willing to be in discovery and set aside all our ideas of what we think God is or creation is or whatever something should be. Just be curious and open as you can be. So close your eyes again. And we do this with eyes closed just because it helps us take away the primary physical sense, which is visual, that only reports the temporary. It just helps us focus our light a little bit early on in this practice. So without me directing your light anywhere, just notice, what are you aware of? Where is your light focused? Is it on the words I'm speaking? Is it on your grocery list? Is it on your physical body? Wherever it is, just notice where it is and marvel that you are immediately aware of where your light is focused and what is being revealed within that field of light or field of awareness. So once more, bring your awareness back down to your feet and just allow yourself to marvel without any effort. I know where my feet are. Now bring your awareness back to your hands. Just see how perfectly and how simply and how effortlessly it works. So now, rather than focusing the flashlight of awareness on specific things, just hold your whole body gently. You're not focused on any particular thing. You just kind of relax your awareness and hold your whole body gently, like you might caress an infant. And just allow yourself to realize, this is my body. I know it. I don't need any proof. I don't need any justification. It just is, and I know it. No doubt. So now without any effort, allow the light to become aware of the space that is suffusing your body. Just the emptiness that is contained within every cell of your body. And simply experience whatever you experience, your own unique, direct knowing. We don't have to get away from the body. We don't have to deny the body. Right where the body is our present threshold between the temporary, the temporal, and the eternal. And the mysterious power of our light can reveal that to us. Now bring your awareness back to your physical form. And again, allow yourself to marvel at how simple that is. And just be aware again that your body is there. I can see Nancy taking a deep breath. She comes back. There's my familiar body, a deep, relaxing breath. Now, once more, with no effort, let's cross the threshold together and allow our light to reveal to us the spaciousness, the emptiness, the pure potential that is contained, the eternal, which is contained within our body. And simply be in wonder. Experience your experience. What gnosis, what direct knowing arises for you? How is it that this light of awareness already has the power to do what we're doing together, to fulfill this experience, to cross this threshold? Now, bring your awareness back to your physical form and just realize, oh, there's my body. Didn't go anywhere. Doing just fine. When you feel ready, you can allow your eyes to gently open and see how immediately we become fully aware of the temporary again. So let's go back to our bottle for a moment. This bottle can be harmed and destroyed, right? I could run over it with my car. I could catch it on fire. I could shoot it with a weapon. There are all kinds of things that could be done to damage this temporary thing. But does the spaciousness, the emptiness that gives rise to this bottle, is it damaged in any way? What if the peace of our eternal nature is so damn close? What if the invulnerable nature of our light and consciousness is so close that we have never been apart from it. We can never be apart from it. We've just all become masters of focusing our light in temporary ways that we mistake ourself as the temporary thing, a bottle or a body. Does anyone have a question or anything you'd like to share about your experience? We're not done. We got plenty more to play with, just where we're at.
I felt like that's such a good analogy, the bottle and what's in it. And so when I was in there, it was just like I became little, my physical body became little bits like stars in the sky. And then there's all this space in between each of those little bits. I've never had that experience before, something like that.
I bet you have, but it's nice to remember it in a specific lifetime. Kathy, thanks for sharing. That's really something. Anyone else?
Well, John, Mark, thank you so much for the workshop, by the way. It's interesting because I found myself outside my body, looking at my body, but I did not want to come back. I had a hard time coming back.
Well, that's wonderful, Bernard.
It's much more fun on the other side.
And when you're in that other awareness, you're aware that you are still you.
Yes.
You didn't become something else.
A bigger version.
Oh, wonderful, Bernard. A bigger version of you. Cool.
In which my physical part is a component of it. It's a subset.
Ah, right. Wonderful. That's a wonderful discovery to have directly, not as an idea, not as a concept, nothing we work with our minds to believe, but our experience is always powerfully revealing. I mean, I use this analogy, it's a little crude. We all know when we have to go to the bathroom. It's not because of a thought system. It's not because we think about it. It's not because we evaluate it. We know it. And when we know it, we also know a lot of information. You know whether you've got to clench and shuffle or you can drive 45 miles. You just know. So let's continue playing. Kathy, you had this other Kathy, you had your hand up. Feel free to share. Unmute yourself. There you go.
When I close my eyes, it's like I'm gone.
It's like you're gone.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm asleep, but I'm not present either.
Wow.
I'm supposed to be present, and I like, no, I'm just part of the atmosphere or something. I don't know.
Well, what if you were present, just not in an idea of what presence is?
That'd be interesting.
Because if you look closely within your consciousness, we all have ideas and concepts about what being present is. And if you also watch, you'll see that you're constantly evaluating whether you are or not against that idea or that concept. But I particularly invited us to leave all that behind and just move in here and be in discovery. So what if maybe what you're experiencing, and I'd encourage you to play with it some more and come to your own discovery, but maybe what you're discovering is what pure presence is, not what your mind's idea of presence is. What if we've all been chasing ideas of presence in our mind and not experiencing true presence? Bernard typed in that he's going to have to leave early, but thank you for sharing your experience before you left, Bernard. When you need to go, just go.
I'm sorry, John Mark, that I had to go, but in 15, 20 minutes from now. Okay.
Okay. All right. Kathy, do you have anything else to share?
Just, but when I'm gone, it's like in hearing your voice, I'm trying to pull myself back. It's like, what is he saying? What am I supposed to do? And like, I'm just gone again.
Okay. Well, next time when you go, trust wherever you go, however you go. And my words are not directives. They're simply invitations. Okay. Anyone else? All right. You want to play some more? Want to be in discovery some more? Great. Let's do it. Remember, we can't screw it up. Obviously, has anyone experienced overwhelming fear or terror today? So what if the whole game of fear and the whole game of terror is just a construct that we created to keep us away from this threshold? What if obviously there is nothing to fear? What if we can cross this threshold simply, powerfully, at will, just because we want to? Okay. So take a deep breath, close your eyes. This gets a lot of fun, by the way. Once you've practiced this and you've made the temporary and the eternal like one, you don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to ever do anything special. You don't have to practice anything. You can simply live it. And there's no better thing than being in this world, but knowing you're not of it. Knowing, not believing, feeling it, knowing it. All righty. So bring your awareness to your physical body and allow the body itself to realize that it is held, suffused, caressed by this space, this emptiness, this presence. What if you accepted that this spaciousness, this presence, accepts your body exactly as it is? Of course, our minds often want our bodies to be thinner or heavier or more attractive or less gray hairs, all kinds of craziness. But let the body itself realize this spaciousness says yes, just as you are. And allow the body to recognize that that space makes absolutely no demands that your body be any different than it is. Those demands come from our own minds, not from this presence. And just for a moment, fill your body with gratitude that for your entire life, not even once has it not been a master of presence. I wonder if I recognize my physical body, as temporary and illusory as it is, can teach me perfect mastery of being here now. Not that we are the bodies, but that the body's expression is always perfectly, effortlessly present. So to Kathy's question earlier, do you wake up in the morning and tell your body to remember to be present today? Or is that an action we take within our minds, full of thoughts and beliefs and shoulds and musts and ought tos? What if instead we rested in the body and said, teach me, show me, how is it you are perfectly present all the time? Let's take a moment to celebrate those bodies. We don't have to deny them. Maybe the body is a master of something we haven't even considered. And maybe contained within it is the very threshold, the very doorway to the eternal. So now that we've had a wee bit of a love fest, accepting our bodies, honoring our bodies, maybe being willing to be in a new relationship with our bodies, let's allow the light of our awareness to cross the threshold and become aware of the spaciousness, the emptiness that is suffusing that body. We don't have to go anywhere to a sacred vortex or to a temple or synagogue. Wherever we are, through the threshold of our bodies, we can touch that which is formless. And simply welcome whatever gnosis comes. Whatever experience comes. And without any effort again, simply allow the light of your awareness to again become aware of the physical form of your body. And just notice how simple it is. Oh, here's my body. Now, as the light of your awareness is focused on your body, allow yourself to notice that you know exactly where the edge of your body is. You know that the edge of your body is at the layer of skin around your physical form. You just know it. If I asked you with your eyes closed to reach up and touch your nose, you can do it effortlessly because you know where the edge of your body is. Now, as the light of your awareness is focused on the familiar body, your own unique form, what arises when I ask this simple question? When was I born? Immediately, without thought, you simply know the date of your body's birth. You know the edge of your body. Let's cross the threshold and allow the light of our awareness to move our focal point into the spaciousness, the formless, which is suffusing our very bodies. And as you rest there, can you tell where the edge of that presence or spaciousness is? And as you rest in that spaciousness, that formlessness, what gnosis arises when I ask, when was I born? And just welcome your experience. Welcome the gnosis. Seek for nothing. Simply receive what is given. Now bring your awareness back to your body. Just a simple, effortless movement without thought, without thought system. Just come back to your physical awareness. And when you're ready, allow your eyes to gently open. So did anyone experience two different things between my body ends here? Where does my presence end? And when was my body born? And when was presence born? Anyone want to share?
There were no lines of delineation for that.
Wow. And you knew that intimately and directly, beyond concept, beyond ideas. Gloria,
What did Gloria say?
Sorry, I said there was no lines of delineation. I couldn't, there was no boundary. There was no, starting point, ending point. There was just this spaciousness.
and Gloria, that was contrasted when you were aware of your body. There was a very distinct.
Yeah.
But how about, Gloria, the difference between when was your body born and the response when you were in presence?
Well, when you said, when were you born, I was experiencing that spaciousness, and I couldn't really answer that question. It was, well, I don't think this was ever born.
Oh, wow. What's it like for you to experience that directly for yourself?
It's so, it's so soothing, and it's hard to, I just feel very, very light. And I just want to stay there. It's just that, that presence without form, without, it's just that state of lightness of being is what comes to mind.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Yes, for me, when I asked when was I born, I got, I always was.
Whoa, cool.
And I couldn't, I just felt that there's no separation. It was just always was.
Wow, no separation. It simply always was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe our tiny little dream of focusing only on the temporary. was never separate from it.
Mhm.
Marcia, how did that feel for you to realize, to know directly it always was?
It's like I've always known that.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Mhm.
And you've now know it. Would you say that you know it differently than having an idea that I am eternal being, or the thoughts
I
about
think
that?
I know it with certainty.
Wow. Know it with certainty. Thank you so much for sharing. And what a simple journey we're taking together. Is this cool or what?
Mhm.
I'm sorry I didn't bring a long list of new concepts and ideas to fill your minds with. Anyone else? Shirley, how about you? You haven't shared yet. You'll have to unmute.
Unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm having trouble with the concept.
Tell us more.
Well, I understand. I got there so far as to the spaciousness. I didn't know. It was like the space that was encapsulating me, if that's the way I understood it. And I just had trouble going any further than that. And I don't know what it is that I'm missing.
Maybe you're missing nothing, and that's just the perfect experience for you now. Honor your experience. There's no experience we're supposed to have. There's no realizations. We are all utterly unique beings. We've had journeys, vast journeys. And when we move back towards our eternal nature, how we each come to it, how we each experience it is also utterly unique for us. So honor your experience, Shirley, and let go of any idea that you should be experiencing something different. I will add this, that the spaciousness that I talk about isn't an encapsulation around. Yes, it is around, but it's also through. It's also contained in the middle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So and as Gloria said, she experienced that it had no boundary. So just be open to that. I wonder if I could invite my light to reveal to me that boundarylessness and just see what happens. I mean, you can't screw it up. None of us are getting harmed at all by any of this. We all already have the faculties. And could we agree that every being walking this planet already has this faculty? No matter what they believe, no matter what religion or spiritual pathway they presently adhere to, this is absolutely universal.
Well, I think that the light of awareness was really valuable for me, as we pointed out, in being aware of the different parts of the body, and then being aware of the emptiness.
Yeah, isn't it cool that awareness, that light, has a fundamental intelligence and power? Do any of us know how it works? I mean, has anybody gotten a training manual in this life of how to have your light work, how it works? No? Well, maybe we're just coming back into rediscovery together of its presence, and we can explore its incredible intelligence, its incredible power that asks nothing of us. I don't know about you, but I have never gotten a bill for presents for my light. Have you guys? Like the inner light bill, like if I don't pay it, it's not going to get turned off. So every being walking this world has this. Every master and enlightened one who has walked this world knows this light. When the master said, "I am the door," he literally was talking about what we're experiencing. He, as Jesus, is within him and within each of us is this doorway, this threshold that we may cross at will. And what if we've all just been confused and chased more temporary things, more teachings, more beliefs, more ideas, more concepts, rather than, as he would say, tubor, in when he spoke Aramaic, tubor meant to turn around or turn within and use that light, that power, to reveal to us the eternal. And we begin to break the habit of focusing it only through the temporary. So each one of you tonight has had an awakening. It may not be some cosmic thing like somebody's YouTube video that you've seen. Maybe it has been, but your light, you have awoken to a power within you that can, without any effort, touch the eternal and reveal your own intimate gnosis. I think that's just cool. I mean, I could be by myself on this. You guys may think, hey, this guy doesn't have a clue, but I think that's cool. So would you like to play some more? Is there anything in particular that anyone feels called to explore?
I have
Nancy?
a question. Okay, we can. I understand the concept of the spaciousness. I understand that. My problem is crossing the veil.
Okay.
From here, the temporary to the eternal. Crossing that. Remembering. Not. It's remembering. The physical brain does not remember what the immortal brain it does. That's what I believe. We just don't remember when we get back. And maybe some people that do remember have problems adjusting. Maybe that's why we don't remember. I don't know. But I would like, my interest is to be able to remember what I see. I know it's there. Like I know I have a finger. I know it's there. I just know it. But I don't remember. You understand? That's what
Sure.
if you don't understand, I have a speech impediment. I'm sorry. If you don't understand, ask me. Ask me. Can you understand me?
Nancy, I understand you perfectly.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm always
Well,
self-conscious. But
okay.
but that was the question. Yes.
Well, we'll explore that some. Maybe we'll come to discover that the way spaciousness or presence orients to time and memory is very, very different than we do in our physical memory and time. So we'll play with that some and see what happens. So how many of you have sought guidance and you've asked questions of the spirit or your guides or the source or whatever terminology you like to use, and you can use any one, I could care less, and felt like you have waited for the answer? Waited and there was no answer. Well, what if when we're asking those questions, we're in our temporary human consciousness oriented to our body? But what if the spirit's response is in the eternal? Just like you were informed when your physical body was born, and you were informed in presence, as Marcia said, it always was. What if we don't actually move the light of our awareness to the eternal where we can receive the answers? We ask in our temporariness and we want to get the answers in our temporariness, but what if we just need to cross the threshold to receive the knowing? You see what I mean? So we'll play with that a little bit, and we'll play with Nancy's question of memory. Okay? All right, so here's the thing. Everybody's succeeding. Nobody can get this wrong. Everybody's having their own experience, and whatever experience you're having is perfect for you. So we don't need to effort at all. We don't need to compare at all. We just need to open and be willing. Okay? So take another really deep breath. And on the exhale, just let your body really relax. And remember, it's okay to celebrate the mastery of the body, the master of presence that the body is. And if any of you have had negative thoughts about your body, or there's a particular part of your body that you don't like or wish was different, or maybe your body doesn't work in ways that you wish it would, whatever that is, just let that come into your awareness. And despite all those ideas and concepts in our minds, despite any judgments we've had of our bodies, without any effort, without any protest, effortlessly has your body been present, holding this threshold to the eternal within it. In the Course in Miracles, Jesus says we brought the light with us from the eternal, and we have never lost it. And that's all we're playing with tonight. That's all we're reawakening tonight, is this light to realize and cross the threshold between the temporary and the eternal. So we can honor and celebrate these bodies and thank them that contained within was a mystical threshold, a mystical doorway that's as ever present as the body itself. So now that we've blessed and thanked these bodies, let's use the light of our awareness to simply, effortlessly refocus on the spaciousness that is suffusing the body, not encapsulating it. Yes, it's outside, but it's also inside. And trust the power, the intelligence of that eternal light to inform you. Nothing to figure out, nothing to effort at. Just let that light bring the awareness of that spaciousness, that formlessness into your awareness. And just see what arises for you when I ask this question. Is there time in presence? Is there a past and future in this spaciousness, this formlessness? So when you're ready, let your awareness come back to your physical form and let your eyes open when you're ready. Is anyone getting a sense of how simple and easy this is? I think the master once says, the way is easy and without effort. And that the truth within merely waits on our welcome. What if we are together making great welcome for it? So Nancy, when you were in that presence, and I asked, is there time in formlessness?
No. Just
Oh,
presence. Just
just-
present.
Just presence. So Nancy, is it possible that you are wanting to remember what can't be remembered? Memory is not a function of presence.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand what I'm looking at.
Ah, well, great.
Maybe that's it. It could be that. Because yeah, there is no time, no linear time.
Yeah.
No
Right.
linear time. But I'm not understanding with the physical brain. I expect things to be understood the way I physically remember them, but no.
Right.
It's a difference.
Mm.
There is a difference.
There is a difference. So what would it feel like if you released that expectation that things need to be understood in a physical, linear way?
I would have to learn differently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Also, I am expecting it to look like a dream. A dream is a creation of my brain. And sometimes they're different dreams, things that I have not experienced but appear there. I'm expecting it to be like that. I can see it. That's what I'm expecting. It could be that my understanding, I should be understanding something different.
Oh, I see.
That is not like a dream. I'm sorry, I don't know how to explain it.
Oh, you're doing just fine. We're all in discovery with you. We're all experiencing this together. There's this really smart guy one time who said, this is a peace, this is a knowing that passes understanding. And what if one of the things we're invited to let go of is the need to continually take this infinite, this eternal, and reduce it down to temporary things that we can understand? What if that's one of the invitations and we begin to realize this? We've already conceded none of us understand this light or how it works. We just know that it is. What if we can lean into that? What if we can trust that more and more and more, that intelligence, that mystery can reveal to us in whatever way we need to have it revealed to us, whatever we need to know, when we need to know it? What would it be like to have nothing to remember, but to rest in a vast and spaciousness that informs you directly all that you need to know, when you need to know it, with no memory, no effort, no striving to understand? As Nancy said, I think we'd have to learn something very different.
Well, it seems to me that that answers a question that I have never really, a statement that I had never really understood before, but it makes sense now, is that we already have the answers to all of our questions.
Oh, Shirley, that is so wonderful to hear. And how does it feel for you to truly understand that now?
Yes, it really makes a difference because it's troubled me for a long time.
Well, we can lay that trouble and that burden aside. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that understanding, that realization, Shirley. And did you all feel when she shared it that same knowing arose within you? Because the seven of us have come into a collective field of presence. We're sharing that one vastness, that one presence, and it's giving itself through Shirley's realization. It arises within each of us. I don't know about you, but that's cool too. Lovely. So what if memory and time is only a function of this temporary experience? And it's a fine experience. There's nothing wrong with it. But what if when we move into the eternal, we're entering into a totally different state of being, a different state of gnosis, a different state of consciousness that is liberated from the linear, that's liberated from needing to understand through correlation or through comparison or through contrast? What if that vast intelligence of this light just already knows, as Shirley said, the answer to all questions even before we would ask them? So when Yeshua said, it's the Father's good will, it's God's good will to give this to us, we merely need enter in and receive. All I've shown you tonight is how to enter in. And it didn't require you to forgive one thing. It didn't require you to understand one thing. It didn't require you to finally make all your relationships perfect. It had no requirements. None. I've offered this and done this with so many beings. No one was barred entry because they were not yet worthy, because they had not yet completed whatever, because they weren't holy enough, or they still said cuss words or whatever. All are welcome. We've just not known where to go, where to look, how to be. And that's all I'm sharing with you is this threshold. I've chosen to enter in, and I've been able to, the divine marriage of the eternal and the temporary, I've been able to make those one. So that the consciousness that informs my life is that, as Shirley said, the one that knows all answers, not my tiny little memory based on my lifetime's experiences.
I think once you experience it, it becomes a context, so that even when you're in the, the awareness of the body and linear obligations or whatever, that experience remains to a certain extent,
Yeah, it sure does.
It becomes a context for everything else.
Yes, that's very well said. So what if by entering in, we can come to, our light can awaken to the capacity that, as Gloria said, it can hold the context, it can hold the eternal and the temporary, these physical forms, it can hold them without being either or. It can hold it all. And what if we know, what if we come to realize and discover and embody that this formlessness, this mysterious intelligence, is our true identity? Do you think you would experience fear of death in the same way? Do you think you would experience fear of loss of this form, meaning that you would actually lose something? Those are questions you all have to discover for yourself. All I've done is show you the simplest, most direct, immediate doorway that has no conditions, that is available to all beings at all times, under all situations and circumstances. But I'm sorry if I've offered you something that may be the end of your seeking. The end of your seeking in the temporary world for more information that can enlighten you, or more forgiveness of events in time and space that can set you free. What if all we've done is the simplest thing that Jesus asked? We've chosen to use our light differently. We've chosen again, and we've used that to contact the eternal. And we didn't have to die first. We didn't have to do anything first. I just invited you to be curious and take a little journey with me. I invite you to come and make it your home, if you wish. If not, you already know it will ever be there waiting on your welcome. So, unless anyone has any questions or you want to explore something else, you certainly don't need me as a guide to do this. This is all I served as just a temporary way shower, holding the doorway open. And, some people might say this is the doorway to the kingdom. Come, the prodigal son, we've all returned in our own unique ways. What if you enter in and discover the true oneness of that presence that we've been seeking, that also contains the temporary individuated expression of Gloria and Kathy and Shirley and Marcia and Nancy. And isn't it cool that one presence discover? Does it take great joy in expressing through an infinite variety of individuated forms? We just thought we were separate from it. It wasn't so. So, Gloria, if no one has any questions, I think that's all I really have to share. I don't know how we are on time, but
We still have time, but so if people have questions or want to discuss anything, there's still time.
I would just,
A disconnect, I guess, that I'm thinking.
let's do Kathy and then we'll go to Marcia.
Okay, so I definitely, experience and like you said, we don't have to do temporary or eternal. And so, and in the past, I think there's been some crossover, but not a total permeability thing, where it's one. But when you say that, it's a oneness, and so we can be informed by our eternal knowing in our temporal bodies when things come up. I guess that's my little disconnect is, so how do we grow in being there all the time, I guess? So if I have something that comes, my dog was hurt the other night and I'm like, oh no, and so I had a little panic, and then it's like, okay, what's the plan? I can get to the vet. It will be before, after hours. And so there's this anxiety in me. So I'm definitely in my ego personality, I would say, or my body. So, but over time, like in the past, I think before my spiritual studies and so forth, I would really be wrapped up in that for a long time, and it would be very bad. And so it did kind of dissipate, or, it wasn't so intense or something out over time. So, things mellow out for me a lot faster and so forth these days. But I can't, how would you frame that as, I know I'm trying to be in my head. Okay, well, how do I take that situation, a stressful situation, and apply the all-knowing, or, I mean, yeah, there'd be no fear of death, or, you know, if she died or if she was crippled or something, that's just the way it is. It's just, it's not good or bad. It's not, you know, you'd live with it. Is that what how would I access the eternal in that situation when I'm focused so intensely in my temporal self?
Yeshua calls it holy instant, where we let go of our ideas of what a situation is. We let go of how do I do this? Because of course, that's still the linear thing.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what I've tried to reveal today is the simplicity of this. It doesn't require invocation. It doesn't require meditation for hours to still one's mind. It literally requires nothing. It's the simplest choice to move the light of awareness in a way that reveals something. So one of the important things is to not strategize this process. So I would invite each of you to recognize that you're no longer a seeker. You're in discovery. You have entered in, you've been shown the way. Now you have your own unique path of discovery. And the way of mastery, Yeshua says, there's a journey to the kingdom, and then there's an eternal unfoldment within it. And to come to the answer to your question in a way that you, Kathy, will know it utterly, your life is, as Gloria said, is the context in which you can bring this presence to bear on every situation and circumstance in your life. And as you do so, your life in relationship to this will be your teacher. It will be the revelation of the answer to your question of how. Because if I answered your question with strategy, you would forever be working the strategy. And I invite you into the mystery where, as Jesus said, presence works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, we don't know. But what you discover and what happens within your own mind when the mind lets go, because you have enough of these direct experiences, and everyone here has experienced what you've experienced in utter safety. Nothing's been threatening, nothing's been harmful, nothing's been scary, but the mind will let go of the how and will rest at the threshold of the now, because it doesn't want to think anymore. It doesn't want to strategize anymore. It doesn't want to effort anymore. It just wants to be informed. Joshua would call this, it wants to be loved, wants to be embraced. It wants to be in reception of this infinite presence. So what you could do if you wanted to practice, obviously this memory of your dog is it's still fresh in your consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can invoke it through memory quite easily. I would encourage you to welcome yourself to do it in as much detail with the emotion, everything that you could, and then slip into presence, not to get caught up and run away in it and experience all the trauma again, but simply to bring it current and then slip into that presence and allow that presence to reveal that situation or circumstance to you in whatever way it does.
Okay.
It's not always going to be one way. Who knows what it's going to be? In one situation, it might be pick the dog up and rush to the vet. In the next situation, it might be something completely different. The thing about this presence is, and what we're invited to, is to let go so completely that we do not limit this presence through our tiny expectations of shoulds and musts.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I invite you, if you still want to play with forgiveness, is to bring situations up and then slip into presence and see them through Christ's vision, see them from the infinite point of view. And I bet you're going to know that situation in a completely different way.
It's like what the Course says about bringing illusion to truth.
Exactly.
And it's almost like like changing the frequency on a radio dial, you know, because the presence is always there. It never goes anywhere. We just shift our attention. So, you know, so we can try to shift it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
We enter communion instead of just being focused on the temporary. And by the way, that presence is suffusing the form of your dog just as completely as it's suffusing yours. So that all-knowingness knows exactly what's going on with the dog. Obviously, you as a physical form don't know, but that presence knows every lick of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that presence is operating every cell in your body and the body of your dog, and will inform you in a way that will be the perfect response. Some people call this right action. It's not like it's right because it's on a scale of right and wrong. It's because it's what's inspired to be the perfect expression in that moment, free of strategy, free of shoulds or musts, free of a self-identity that would be spiritual and so I should be only at peace in kumbaya. Maybe that peace rushes over and picks the dog up and takes the dog to the vet. You see what I mean? The point is, one of the things that's challenging is this invites us into a state of utter freedom where we no longer limit infinite presence, all knowingness. We allow ourselves to become an instrument of it. And each of us, our lives are the context. And no matter how much information or study you learn, at some point, every bit of it has to be set aside so that it doesn't limit the power of this presence. Just as Jesus says, forget this course and come into presence with wholly empty hands, ready to receive whatever. You see what I mean? So the longer you seek, the longer will be your process of release. The more you seek, the more you'll have to let go. The more you learn, the more you're going to have to release.
Yeah.
Marcia, you had a question?
Did
Yes,
that answer everything you needed, Kathy?
I think so. Yeah.
I'd be curious. Gloria can give you my info. If you actually go back and do that experience again with the dog and slip into presence, I'd love to hear whatever your experience is. Okay, Marcia.
I wanted to say, first of all, John Marcus, thank you. I don't think I've ever been more grounded or more present than what I was when you took us through that little exercise. I mean, I was in the now, I was in the moment.
Cool.
There was nothing else that existed but that moment, that now. And it was like almost like a new experience for me because I've been in many meditations and things, but my mind's wandering or whatnot. But I was very grounded and very present. And I wanted to thank you.
Well, I receive your gratitude. Thank you for thanking me, but celebrate yourself. Your willingness brought you to that. I just held the door open and said, come if you wish. Celebrate yourself. Honor that presence, that knowing within you. Make it your own. Cool.
Kathy Batchman, you look puzzled. Unmute yourself. There we go.
It's so very busy. Partly, I feel like I don't feel grounded at all. I feel like I'm kind of almost blending with whatever's around. But I have questions, and I think they're connected to experiences, things that I consider miracles in the physical, where things just fall into place, is part of that. You know, things that seem just very unexpected, that something's going to work out. And it's just like having a project and finding all the things I needed for the project and thinking it's completely, before I started out, it seemed completely impossible. And then also having, say, one experience where I had been to a spiritual thing, and then I was hanging clothing up on the line, and I felt like the sort of thing I hear about God living life through us. It felt quite literally, subtly, but literally, that something entered through my back and went out my front. And my definition, for lack of a better word, was like, it felt like God living through me, what I was doing. And then one other thing, having been in a car wreck, and I knew, some part of me knew that I had been hit, or my car had been hit, yet I was gone, but I was not gone. I was in, I'm always trying to figure things out. It's a very busy mind I have, but it was like I was, you know, I finally figured out maybe I was in what at least physically people call the void, where it was black and there were sparkles. And I knew I was perfectly fine. My mind was still going, I wonder what this is. I wonder how long it's going to last. And then I was back, you know, because I heard screeching tires of somebody stopping. But so I'm thinking, okay, if people are unconscious, does their mind still work? So I'd find people who'd been in, you know, knocked out, so to speak, and ask them, it's like, did your mind still work? And they're going, no. And yet mine did. So I've got all these just questions.
Okay. Before we wrap
I can't hear Kathy. Can you recap kind of what she was asking, or?
Kathy was sharing that she has past experiences that she's had. One of the awareness of God living through her while she was doing laundry, another of a kind of an out-of-body experience when she was in a car accident, and she's seeking to understand those experiences in a broader way. Does that characterize it, Kathy? Okay. So before I go, let's have a parting trip together. Would you like to? And I think we can bring both Kathys some gnosis directly to themselves. Okay. So everybody, let's do one more trip together. Okay. And we're getting to be seasoned at this already. And isn't it cool? We haven't had to do anything special. Thank God we don't have to burn incense to make this happen. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and on the exhale, let your body really relax. And again, we honor the body. We enter more deeply into it, for within it is the very threshold to eternal presence, to this spaciousness, to the omnipresence of the source. And we allow the light of our awareness to become one with that presence, not denying our bodies, not seeking to leave them or diminish them, but we allow the light of our awareness to expand into that presence. And we simply ask, presence, can you inform me about all things. Will you provide any guidance or understanding that is necessary for me to ever become more one with you? Presence, is it true that you know absolutely everything about me? And know me and hold me in an unconditional love? Is it true that of my physical self and my thinking intellectual mind, I need do or know nothing, because it's your good pleasure to give all to me? As I enter into this communion, will you guide my every step? Completing within me the marriage of the temporary and the eternal. Freely offering me without cost, without effort, all things I need to know and receive. And can you teach me, guide me how to walk around in everyday life in a perfect communion to this infinite, mysterious intelligence? And simply know within the sovereignty and the uniqueness of your being, is it true that I don't need any strategies of how to think or how to be, because in communion, all things will be given in the moment that they're needed? Presence, is it your joy to live life in, as, and through me? Is it true that I need seek no more, because I have found? And in your own way, let yourself feel the gratitude that that presence has for you. Without us, that presence has no manifest expression. It simply is. We put the life in life. And presence, if there's something I should know in this moment, reveal it to me now, please. Bring to me all the answers that my mind needs to come to rest. Bring to me all the understanding I need to open fully and be one with this powerful presence. Thank you, presence, for being silent and not interrupting me while I was demanding to be separate, while I was wanting to experience aloneness, while I experienced fear. Thank you for freeing me to know separation completely. And thank you for joining me now that that journey is complete. Hmm. When you're ready, allow your eyes to open, holding the jewels, the gifts that you have received within yourself. And if you wish, make them your own. Claim them for yourself. Claim this presence for and as yourself, if that brings you joy.
Thank you.
When Jesus taught the disciples how to pray, he wasn't teaching them words. He taught what I shared with you tonight, how to enter communion and receive. This is true prayer. It's not a beseeching. It's not an asking. It's a being one. And in that, everything will be given. And no, Marcia, I don't have a CD. I have offered on my website a series I called Beyond Belief into Presence. But I would encourage you to not watch it, because I've given you all that you need. I've shown you the door. Enter in and be in discovery. You know there's nothing to fear. You know it's within you. You know it's simple and direct. And you know how you know that you know. You need nothing else. All the other spiritual pathways are to bring us to this threshold where we will enter in without fear and hopefully make it our home. If you ever need a guide or a reminder, I'll gladly provide one. But you don't need one. You have the power already. I've just shown you a wee bit of the use of it. And it's been my joy to do so. Gloria, thank you for inviting me. And
My
ladies,
pleasure.
thank you for participating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. It was wonderful.
It really was wonderful. Thank you. And anyone who wants the recording, just email me and I'll send it to you as soon as it's finished being edited. Okay?
So I hope what I've shared with you will make it easier to let go and receive everything.
Yes, it's been a gift.
I honor and celebrate your unique journeys. Thank you for all the ways that all you ever have been, all you are now, or all you may ever become in union with this presence or not. It's been a holy encounter for me tonight, and I am deeply grateful.
As are we. Thank you, John, Mark.
Welcome. I had fun.
I think everyone did.
So did I.
Play well, friends.
And thank you all for
Okay,
coming.
bye-bye.
Shalom.